one thing, dude, that really sticks out to me is you're not getting going towards your desired target until you start descending from your leg lift, right? I'm sure you've probably heard me talk about this all the time, but I'm a huge believer in essentially like the brain signaling to the body in terms of task completion, right? So basically like sending the signals to the body and how to respond to certain stimuli in effort to maximize the task. And anytime that we essentially have this very slow tempo and controlled initial move, then the body's like, okay, well, we have time. We don't need to really accelerate our body down the mound, right? So your goal now is you're trying to produce a ton of energy into the ground as you descend, right? And the way that I look at it from an accelerator and driver standpoint is you standing at 5'9", 175, like, dude, you need to get moving, right? You need to rely on your fast twitch muscles and you need to accelerate down the mound, which will in turn accelerate your hand or your arm, whatever you want to call it. So basically you're setting yourself up to try to produce mass amounts of energy into the ground. And as you come down, you see that the drive leg and the ankle and the hip are all really kind of off alignment. So you're not able to produce a ton of energy into the ground. And then when you go to transfer that energy, you come down, and it looks to me, my perception of this is like you're not, and I know you mentioned in the PDF you have a hip mobility kind of issue. Absolutely, we're going to hammer that home. But it just looks to me that you're not maximizing what you're capable of doing. Why do I say this? Because again, when we put you in an athletic like task, which is this run and gun or pull down, whatever it is, watch your drive leg now stabilize when it hits the ground, and notice the separation that you create from the knee to the knee and actually produce more energy, and you get more distance with your stride. So it's like, to me, I'm looking at that as you actually might have the hip capacity. It's just you're not accessing it on the mound. Why? Because you're not accelerating, dude. So like here, we obviously know that our momentum is going forward, and watch how your body responds to that. Boom, drive leg, hammer that into the ground. Now we're locked in with that pelvis, holding rotational energy. And now when it's time to start our rotation, it's late and it's in time with the arm coming up. Boom, stabilize. Boom, lead leg block. Boom, hip extension. Boom, trunk flexion. Like, dude, your long toss, your pull down, I don't know exactly what this is. I'm assuming it's a long toss, but that's freaking money, right? Like, I just rattled off all of those things that happen really well, right? So like, just notice, obviously your trunk is really tilted back and you're kind of in that hip coil, but comparing this to the mound, when we don't have that acceleration, watch what happens. Boom, you try to shoot into this hip coil. The drive leg doesn't really have a point in which it stabilizes, meaning like that posture, that external rotation of that rear hip. Remember how we saw that in the long toss? So instead it just collapses, so we're not able to produce a ton of energy. And then as we kind of come up into arm raise, like we're already into our anchor point. So you're just kind of cutting yourself off. So for me, looking at that, it's like obviously kind of one or two things. We increase forward move. As soon as you disconnect, pick your leg up, get going. You're going to see a ton of stuff on this in the report on how to go about it. Get going, right? We want acceleration. We want momentum forward, especially on a mound, dude. The slope is our friend, right? We want to increase that acceleration on a mound. So let's do that. Let's increase that. And then while we're doing this, I'm going to program some stuff for your hip mobility. I think that's going to be a huge thing that can potentially unlock that. But like I said, looking at your long toss, like your hip mobility kind of gets unlocked when you add that acceleration. So I wouldn't be surprised if you add acceleration on the mound and your hip mobility drastically increases. Now, another piece to that is we can't just increase our forward move but not stabilize in that drive leg. We still have to stabilize in that drive leg. We still have to kind of keep that drive leg sturdy. So a lot of the progressions you're going to see are going to be focused on that. Now, again, it could be overwhelming in the sense of like, whoa, you're trying to feel two different things. You're trying to get moving forward and you're trying to drive leg stability. Like, obviously we don't want to do that. My biggest piece to you is just increase your forward move. Leg lift, get going forward. The wall drill is going to be huge. I think it's called Hershiser. You lift the leg just to feel your body going forward. That's going to be the biggest piece. Up your pull downs, up your long toss, because we already see that we have a window of opportunity there. If you increase the volume there, increase the amount of reps there, I'm a believer in that it will carry over into your mountain. Your body will start moving that way, and that's what we want, right?